There's a woman walking through the Marais district of Paris right now. She's 71 years old. She's wearing the exact same trench coat she bought in 1998. And somehow, she looks more put together than half the influencers half her age posting outfit videos this morning. Here's what nobody tells you about that. It's not the coat. It's not even French style, not really. It's the fact that she owns 7 pieces of clothing that actually work, and she has spent the last 4 decades refusing to own anything else. 7. Not 70. Not a closet bursting with things she might wear someday. Or things she bought because they were on sale and felt too good to pass up. 7 pieces worn on rotation, styled 100 different ways, and every single one of them chosen so carefully that she never once has to stand in front of her closet feeling lost, overwhelmed, or like she has nothing to wear, even though technically, she has more clothes crammed in there than she does. Sound familiar? That feeling of opening your closet, staring at it for 10 minutes, and somehow still feeling like you have nothing that fits who you are anymore. That's not a you problem. That's a too many pieces, not enough purpose problem. And French women solved it decades ago, quietly, without ever writing a self-help book about it. Stick with me for the next few minutes because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what those 7 pieces are, why French women over 60 swear by them, how to find each one without spending a fortune, and how to style every single piece multiple ways so your wardrobe finally feels like it works for you instead of against you. Now before we dive in, hello and welcome. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you found us. This is Timeless Style After 60, the place we come to every week to talk about looking effortless, elegant, and completely yourself at any age on any budget. We're not here to sell you a fantasy or convince you that you need to buy 50 new things to look good. We're here for real practical style advice, the kind you can actually use starting today. And if you're one of our regulars, welcome back, my friend. You already know how we do things around here. No fluff, no pressure to buy things you don't need. Just honest conversation about looking and feeling like the best version of yourself. Before we get into these 7 pieces, do me one small favor. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already because we post videos just like this one every single week. And I would hate for you to miss the next one. And while you're at it, drop a comment down below and tell me what's the one piece of clothing you already own that you refuse to give up. The one thing that no matter how your style has changed over the years, you just can't part with. I read every single one, and I genuinely love seeing what you all say. Alright, let's get into it. Piece 1, the trench coat. Let's start with the piece I mentioned earlier, because it's the anchor of everything else. The trench coat. Here's the mistake most of us make. We think a coat is just something we throw on when it's cold outside, an afterthought, the last thing we grab on our way out the door. French women over 60 see it completely differently. To them, the coat is the first thing anyone notices about you before they even see what's underneath it. It's your handshake, your introduction before you've even said a word. And that's exactly why they invest in one that fits properly, in a color that goes with absolutely everything they own, rather than owning 3 or 4 cheaper coats that each only work with half their wardrobe. Camel, sand, or classic khaki. Not black. Black trenches tend to look heavy, almost costume-like, and honestly a little severe. But a warm neutral tone looks expensive even when it isn't, and it works over jeans, over dresses, over trousers, literally anything else on this list. Here's the part that will surprise you. You don't need to spend $300 on this. Thrift stores and consignment shops are quietly full of barely worn trenches, because most people buy them, wear them twice, decide they don't love the fit, and forget about them entirely. That's your opportunity. Look for one with a real fabric belt, not a sewn-in tie that can't be adjusted, and shoulders that sit exactly where your shoulders end, not drooping past them and not pulling tight across them. That one fit detail is what separates a coat that looks cheap from one that looks like it walked straight out of a Parisian boutique window. And here's a small secret. The coat doesn't even need to be brand new to look expensive. A slightly worn trench with good bones, a solid structure, real buttons, a proper collar, will always beat a brand new one made from flimsy fabric that wrinkles the second you sit down. Piece 2, the white shirt. Piece number 2, and I promise you already own something close to this, you just haven't been using it the right way yet. The crisp white button-down shirt. French women don't treat this as an office shirt, or something reserved for job interviews. They treat it as a piece of architecture, a blank canvas that can be reshaped a dozen different ways depending on the day. Tucked into a skirt, it looks polished and intentional. Knotted at the waist over trousers, It looks relaxed and a little playful. Worn open over a simple tank with the sleeves pushed up, it looks like you didn't even try, which ironically is exactly the effect you're going for. The trick nobody tells you is that fabric matters far more than brand name. A stiff cotton poplin holds its shape beautifully and looks sharp from morning until night, while a soft, cheap blend goes limp by noon and somehow makes you look tired even when you feel fine. If you're shopping secondhand, check the collar and the cuffs before anything else, because those are always the first places fabric wears thin, and a shirt with a slightly yellowed or frayed collar will quietly undo the whole outfit no matter how good everything else looks. One more thing worth knowing. A shirt that's a size up, worn loose and a little oversized, often looks far more current and effortless than one buttoned tightly to the collar. French women lean into that relaxed fit constantly, and it's a small shift that makes a surprisingly big difference. Piece 3. The dark denim. Piece 3 might be the one you're most nervous about, and honestly I understand why. Jeans after 60 can feel like a risky decision, because so much of what gets marketed to us is either shapeless and unflattering or trying so hard to look youthful that it ends up looking costume-like instead. French women solve this with one simple, almost boring rule. Dark wash, straight leg, no distressing, no rhinestones, nothing shouting for attention. Dark denim reads as intentional the second someone looks at you. It photographs beautifully in every lighting situation. It pairs with the blazer we're about to talk about just as easily as it pairs with a simple sweater and a pair of clean sneakers. And because there's no fading or fraying to worry about over time, a genuinely good pair of dark jeans can last you 5, sometimes even 10 years, without ever looking dated or worn out. Here's a fitting tip most people skip entirely. Sit down in the jeans before you buy them. Right there in the fitting room, don't just check the mirror standing up. If they dig into your waist or gap awkwardly when you sit, they will bother you every single time you wear them, no matter how flattering they look while you're standing still admiring yourself in the mirror. Alright, quick pause here because I want to know something. Out of the 3 pieces so far, the trench, the white shirt, or the dark denim, which one do you already own? Type the number 1, 2, or 3 in the comments right now. I'm genuinely curious how many of you already have the foundation of this wardrobe sitting quietly in your closet without even realizing it. And if you're finding this helpful so far, this is exactly the moment to hit that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more women just like you, and it takes about 1 second of your time. While you're there, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, because trust me, pieces 4 through 7 get even better, and piece 7 especially is one most people completely overlook. Okay, let's keep going. Piece 4. The silk scarf. Piece number 4 is the piece people underestimate the most, and it's the silk scarf. This is not the scarf your grandmother tied stiffly under her chin at church. French women use it almost like jewelry, as a finishing touch rather than a necessity. Knotted loosely around the neck, it adds instant polish. Tied to the handle of a plain bag, it adds a pop of color to an otherwise neutral outfit. Even folded and worn as a simple headband on a bad hair day, it works. One scarf, 4 or 5 completely different outfits, and suddenly your handful of basic pieces starts looking like 15 different looks. The reason this works so well specifically after 60 is that it draws the eye upward toward your face, which is exactly where you want attention to go. A patterned scarf near your face also does something subtle but genuinely powerful. It reflects a bit of color and light back onto your skin, which is part of why so many women say they look more rested and awake the moment they tie one on. And no, you don't need actual silk to get this effect. A good quality silk blend from a discount store or even a secondhand shop looks nearly identical and costs a small fraction of the price. What actually matters is that it drapes softly and doesn't look stiff or plasticky when you tie it, because that's the detail that gives away a cheap scarf instantly. Piece 5. The blazer. Piece 5. The blazer. And this might genuinely be the single most transformative item on this entire list. Here's why. A blazer instantly signals that you got dressed on purpose, that you made a decision about how you wanted to present yourself today. Throw it over the white shirt and jeans, and you suddenly look like you have somewhere important to be, even if you're just heading to the grocery store or picking up a prescription. It's the fastest way to look pulled together in under 30 seconds, which, let's be honest, some mornings is exactly the kind of shortcut we need. Structured shoulders matter more than almost anything else here. A blazer with too soft a shoulder tends to look droopy and tired by the end of the day. One with sharp, well-defined shoulders instantly straightens your whole posture, at least visually, and makes you appear more confident even before you've said a word to anyone. This is one item where actually trying it on before buying is worth the extra 10 minutes, because fit changes everything with this particular piece more than with almost anything else on this list. Piece 6. The little dress. Piece 6, and this is where it gets genuinely fun. The little black or navy dress. French women keep this incredibly simple. No excessive detail, no busy print fighting for attention. Just a clean shape that schemes the body without clinging to it uncomfortably. The reason navy gets mentioned right alongside black here is that navy is often more flattering against silver or gray hair specifically, and it tends to photograph a little softer and warmer than pure black does under most lighting. This one single dress becomes 10 different outfits depending entirely on what you layer with it. Add the blazer over it for something polished enough for dinner out. Tie the scarf around the waist as an improvised belt for something a little more playful. Slip on flat boots underneath for daytime errands, or a simple low heel for evening. One dress, endless quiet versions of you. All from a single hanger in your closet. Piece 7. The simple shoes. And finally, piece 7, the piece that quietly makes or breaks absolutely everything else on this list. Simple leather shoes, whether that's a ballet flat, a classic loafer, or a low clean heel. Here is the truth: French women understand instinctively that most of us were simply never taught. Complicated shoes complicate an outfit. A shoe with too many straps, too much shiny hardware, or too flashy a texture pulls attention straight down to your feet and quietly fights with everything you're wearing above it. A simple leather shoe in a neutral tone does the exact opposite. It quietly supports the whole look without ever once competing with it for attention. Comfort matters enormously after 60, and thankfully it no longer has to mean sacrificing style to get it. Look for real leather or a genuinely good leather look alternative. A slightly rounded toe for comfort throughout the day, and a low, stable heel or a completely flat, supportive sole. This is honestly the one piece worth spending a little more on if you can, because your feet, quite literally, carry this entire wardrobe from morning to night. So there you have it. 7 pieces. A trench coat, a white shirt, dark denim, a silk scarf, a blazer, a simple dress, and a pair of clean leather shoes. That's genuinely it. That is the entire foundation French women over 60 build decades of effortless style around, and now you know exactly why each piece earns its place. Here's what I want you to do this week. Go through your closet slowly, and just notice how many of these 7 you already own in some form. I would be willing to bet it's more than you think, you just haven't been wearing them together the right way. Tell me your number in the comments below. I read every single one. And before you go, if this video gave you even one new idea for your wardrobe, please take 2 seconds to like it, subscribe if you're new here, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this too. We post new videos like this every single week, all about looking elegant, timeless, and completely like yourself, without spending a fortune to get there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.